And our word for today on this Wednesday of the 24th week in Ordinary Time, this Wednesday, September the 18th, our word for today is love. Love is about as important a word as we're ever going to recover since God Himself describes Himself that way. God is love, we read in the scriptures. And this from St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians today, chapter 13, the very end of chapter 12, and then the beginning of chapter 13. Brothers and sisters, strive eagerly for the greatest gifts, but I shall now show you an even more excellent way. A more excellent way than what? Well, what do we see in the 12th chapter of his first letter to the Corinthians? St. Paul says we are all part of one body, that we are all functioning individually as apostles, as teachers, as doing mighty deeds, all of these things, but that we function to do one thing for the building up of the body as a collective. And we are all called to do that thing. And now he says, now, even more excellent than that is this law of love. This law of love. If I speak in human and angelic tongues, but I don't have love, I'm a resounding gong or a clashing cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and comprehend all mysteries and all knowledge, if I have faith so as to move mountains, but I don't have love, I am nothing. If I gave away everything I own, and even if I hand my body over so as I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Brothers and sisters, we have been told, we have been instructed what we are to do. Over and over again in the scriptures, the Lord tells us who we are in Him, how important we are in Him. And a lot of time is spent in the scriptures telling us that, building that expectation of the relationship that is ours if we but give ourselves over to the Lord. And then, of course, what we are to do once we enter into that relationship. There are a lot of do's and don'ts. There are a lot of black and white laws and precepts and all of those things. But St. Paul is saying here, if you do all of those flawlessly, but you don't have love, forget it. Forget it. Why doesn't it matter unless you do them with love? Because God is love. Where love is, there's God. Where there is no love, there is no God. You can't have love without God, and you can't have God without love. You know, there's a saying that's very popular in our world and in our culture today: love wins, and you ain't kidding. Love does win because God wins. That's it. Even if someone were to misuse that phraseology, it doesn't change the fact that the statement itself is absolutely true. Love wins because love has a name, and his name is God, and God has a name, and his name is love. And so we must have love in our lives. We must conduct ourselves with that perfect love. Now understand, he is wherever love is. He must be present if there's love there. But here is the other side of that. He calls us into a deeper love. He calls us into a more perfect truth. He always is calling us up higher and higher and higher because that's what love does. That's always what love does. That's why we as his followers are always called into a deeper relationship with him and a deeper relationship with one another, and to die more and more to ourselves that we might be at the service of others. So then we pursue everything that is godly and nothing that isn't godly because we know that God is love. And we are called to be a distributor of that love ourselves, the true, authentic, always right love of God. Love, our word for today.